Hello there. In today's video, I'm going to discuss about documented information in the ISO management system standards, what exactly it means, how the standard is evolving and using different terminologies, and how to easily interpret with respect to the documented information that is used in the standards. A brief intro about myself. My name is Syed Arshad Hashmi, and I'm the principal consultant at Core System Consultant. By profession, I'm an engineer with 30 years of experience of consulting, auditing, and training a number of organizations, including some global supply chain across the globe. So that was a brief about myself. And now let's get started. So today I'm going to discuss about the documented information. As you may know that all the ISO standards, they use the term documented information. And with respect to the 14001, which has recently been revised in April 2026 this year, and the 9001, which is about to be revised in the coming month in October 2026, the documented information has again been changed with a little different terminology. So first, let me try to explain you what documented information means and how you should interpret the main term. And I will take you a little back in the previous versions before the 2015 versions, which was both the 9001 and the 14001 for reference. So in the 9001 2008 version, or the previous standards, the term were used as control of documents and control of records. So there are two types of documents over which the standard was pretty categorical about: documents and records. And the easy way to explain a document is something that guides and that provide instructions to execute a process or to control a process. That's all about document. Can be a policy, can be a procedure, can be a process standard or a product standard, anything that guides to control and to execute a process, that is a document. And a record is the evidence of a completion of an activity or an execution of an activity, that is called a record. So anything that has happened in the past and there is a record available that how it happened, what were the readings and what were the execution steps and who performed those activities, that are all termed as the record. So that was a categorical difference between a document and a record has been in the past. Now, what happened in 2015 version, that ISO standard in both the 9001 and 14001, when that was revised, they changed the term documents and records with one term, and they used to call it as documented information. And they attached a term basically along with the documented information as maintain and retain. So the original definition of documents and records was very much intact, but they used a common terminology, documented information, for both documents and records. And they said that if the documented information is coming as maintained documented information or available as documented information, consider that as a document, which is the policy or the procedure or the standards. Now, my personal take on this documented information is I'm not very much in favor of this term documented information. The reason being that the previous terms were pretty self-explanatory, documents and records, and it was nicely placed in the previous standards. Nevertheless, they have changed with the term maintain documented information means a document and retain documented information means a record. Now what is going on in the 2026 version? So they have changed the term maintain and retain, and they're going with two new terms. One is available as documented information, and the other term is the documented information should be available as evidence. And what they're saying is that if the evidence word is not attached with the documented information, take that as a document. If it is coming up only with available as documented information, take that as a document. And if it is coming up as documented information available as evidence, take that as a record. Now, again, my take, since we have been associated with this standard for more than 30 years, me and other consultants and other quality managers maybe, but the new people, they may find it confusing. And I am a personal fan of not leaving the things much to interpretation of the public or the general reader. And the more you clarify it in the standard, the less will be the chance of the deviation from the actual requirements of the standard. My take on the word documented information for all of you who are looking at the 14001 standard, which has been revised, 2026 version, where they are also revising this maintain and retain as available documented information. Don't get much confused with that. You can still use the same guidelines from the 2015 version for both 9000 and 14001 because the requirements for the documents has not been changed significantly or as such in 2026 versions. So the requirements of the documents are still the same. And wherever standard was previously using maintained documented information, now the standard is using the term available as documented information. And wherever standard was using previously retained documented information, which was record, the standard is now using the term available documented information as evidence. So that evidence is giving you the hint that it is talking about the records. Nevertheless, the standard is using at the same places, with exception of very minor in some of the clauses, documented information as it was using in the previous version. So my practical recommendation will be that whenever you're reading the term documented information in any of the new standards, 9001 or the 14001 2026 version, when the standard says available as documented information, you can ask yourself this question that, is this something I use to direct or control an activity? If that is the case, then the standard is referring to a document. In case the standard is using the term documented information shall be available as evidence of, refers to the record of it. And these both the terms are explained well in the Annex A of both the standards, 9001 and the 14001 standard. If you take the guidance from the 2015 version, that is pretty clear about with respect to maintain and retain, and it will not leave much for the reader to interpret and go wrong in what type of documents the standard may be needing. So I hope that this little short video may have resolved the myth about the term documented information. And if you like to know which areas the standard is requiring the documented information vis-a-vis the 14001 standard or the 9001 standard, the latest 2026 version, I've kept the link in the description below, and you can click on that and you can download the documents in which I've listed down all the clauses where the standard requires you to have documented information in both the 9001 and the 14001 standard. So hope that the information may be beneficial to you, and I hope to see you in my next video. Till then, thank you so very much.